Another case of me stepping into the theatre, hoping and praying to be surprised while knowing the original source material continues. I remember expanding upon the 2020 Telugu thriller hit The First Case in one of my non-Hindi film listicles and talking about many aspects of the film that I fell in love with, including the performances and the background score, but really feeling that Tamil and Telugu cinema have way better crime thrillers than this to be remade in several languages. But here we are. The case of thrillers being remade in Hindi cinema, especially after a period of time where the audience has become accustomed to the original films, especially during the period of lockdown, is a tricky one. The only justifiable reason I can think of, or one remaking the same, would be if there is a new perspective, shade, and screenplay provided to the new venture. Hoping for the same, I stepped into the theatre for Hit the First Case starring Rajkummar Rao and Sanya Malhotra, especially because I have an admiration and respect for their acting talent more than anything else. Directed by Sailesh, who is responsible for the original film as well, the movie focuses on Vikram, played by Rajkummar Rao, an extremely skilled and capable officer with the homicide intervention team in Rajasthan. Vikram suffers from an intense condition of PTSD due to a traumatic past that often comes in the way of his work, causing him a lot of overwhelming mental strain. Neha, a forensic specialist, and Vikram's love interest, played by Sanya Malhotra, acts as a guiding light in providing empathy during this turbulent time. Shedding light on the case of a missing girl, Vikram, who is on leave prescribed by higher officials and experts due to his condition, has to come back to active duty as he realizes that the missing girl case has personal stakes at play as well. How Vikram with his colleagues cracks the case forms the basic storyline of Hit. Here's me telling you the good and bad aspects of the film so that you guys can ultimately decide whether to watch this thriller in theaters or not. The good. The music. I think Mithun and Manan Bharadwaj really do lend to the screenplay of the film rather than just being roadblocks to the storytelling. I was absolutely obsessed with the background score of the original film composed by Vivek Sagar, and I have to say that there is no match in the remake. But if we really look at the beautiful romantic track of Kitni Haseen Hogi, sung by Arijit Singh, it really does stand out as making you root for Vikram to have some peace in his life. Whether it be through the energy and character of Neha, so be it. And I think the song captures the dynamic really well. Tinka, sung by Jubin Nautiyal, which acts as the opening credits of the film, is very similar to the Telugu version that sheds light on the glimpses of the traumatic past that our protagonist may have undergone. His dark moments alone, the unsaid connection with his furry animal, and finally trying to come to terms with his condition is really well captured through the song. Conviction and psychological impact and portrayal. Rajkummar Rao is an actor in its truest sense, being so malleable that he just molds according to the treatment and pitch of the character in film. With some mediocre commercial projects and some really noteworthy and impactful ones, one thing is clear for me that Raj will have the ability to shine or be the highlight of a film if it does not deliver, and this is precisely the case with this remake. If you look at the character of Vikram, it requires an actor with a range and conviction, as the inner demons and psychological battles one is dealing with are really complex to portray, and Raj does a phenomenal job at that, despite being a part of a project that is horribly executed from an editing standpoint. Raj's monosyllabic and stoic tone that acts as a shield to the broken and vulnerable man he is from within acts as a great anchor to a ship that is otherwise going haphazardly in several directions. The only praiseworthy quality of the film from a technical standpoint is how they portray several triggers of a man suffering from PTSD, something that he experiences while dealing with traumatic situations on the field, on the verge of getting a stroke, the triggers that lead to panic attacks, or even when Vikram hits a wall during the investigation. Rajkumar really shines in being the only real standout performer in this film. Dalip Tahil and Shilpa Shukla do provide some moments of support, but their appearances are too fleeting for it to really stay with the audience. The underwhelming aspects. Editing and screenplay. What one seeks for while watching a thriller, at least when it comes to a whodunit, is that it engages you from a screenplay point of view. Slowly and steadily as the layers of an onion get peeled, one wants to be drawn towards the big screen and understand what might be the motivations of several characters in the universe. But the film is so technically inept that it will actually cause for a tedious and exhausting watch for you. The film will give you the feeling as if you're watching a YouTube video at 1.25x the speed. The back and forth dialogues between the characters are brief to the point of being abrupt, quickly moving on to the next scene in a different location, transitioning scenes through blackouts or fadeaways in such a rudimentary fashion you wonder whether it was the only take that they had. The movie never really makes you sit with the moment. Its rapid jump cuts one after the other, accounting for such a frustrating watch that when even a traumatic news is shared, it doesn't even let the characters react to the awful news and moves on to the next scene. The classic case of train chhoot rahi hai is clear with the editing of this film, really not allowing you to understand several characters that get introduced and give you the time to even pass your own judgments. It takes the form of an impatient child just waiting to get onto the next ride in a theme park. Supporting cast and Sanya Malhotra barely being there. One of the biggest bummers for me while watching the film was that Sanya Malhotra barely has a role in this film. When I got to know that Rajkummar and Sanya are cast together, I thought this might open the floodgates for the creators to tweak a few things about the original and actually make more use of the duo involved, but no. Sanya appears and vanishes just like the forgettable role portrayed by the love interest in the original film. What becomes essential for the story and motivations to be convincing in the case of Hit is that the supporting cast around Rajkummar are really good at their job, but sadly I have to confess the film really showcases some mediocre performances. Whether it be Rajkumar's right-hand man, the person he shares a professional rivalry with, or even the parents of the missing girl, most of them have a monotone and poker-faced delivery that is devoid of a range of emotion needed to at least throw off the audience momentarily. The abrupt editing of the film of course does not help, but it actually seemed like Rajkummar took the role of Cristiano Ronaldo at Manchester United last season and was doing all the heavy lifting. Odd messaging and unintentionally funny climax. What can I really do when I watch this film to influence the audience to go to the theatre? That this film offers a new spin to the same story, right? One of the most absurd and unconvincing parts of the original Telugu film was the climax, and just like the forensic Hindi remake, the creators attempt to change up a few things to, spice things up, but my god, is it as absurd if not more than the original. The climax with its social messaging that has its hints throughout its screenplay really caught me off guard, but all for the wrong reasons, making me not exclaim, "Whoa, that was unexpected," but actually a resounding matlab kuch bhi in a storyline that just can't be salvaged by the conviction of Rajkummar Rao. There will be very few takers for a film like this that has been executed in such a shabby manner in theatres. An OTT route would have definitely been wiser, but it would have been criticized nonetheless. This is another case of talented actors being placed in below average products, hoping and praying that this might be lightning in a bottle. This is not achieved at the slightest in this case. And that was a video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about the movie. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram, the handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.